Good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Dear fellow members of the advisory group of experts, dear deputy members of the AGE, and of course, dear all others who watch us online. Today, on the 4th of December, all 6 members of the advisory group of experts are present at our meeting. That means that there is a quorum at the meeting, and I can declare our meeting opened. I would also like to remind you all that all official meetings of the AGA are broadcasted live on the official resources of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine and on the webpage of the advisory group of experts. So we are starting the meeting, and I would first like to give the floor to the Secretary of the AGE, Mr. Yaroslav Romaniuk, to announce the purpose and agenda of today's meeting. So, Mr. Yaroslav, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alish. Greetings, dear colleagues, and everyone who is watching our broadcast right now online. And first of all, I would like to remind you that at our first meeting, we elected the chairman and the secretary of the AGE. We approved the regulations on the AGE, and we also decided to finalize the methodology of assessment of moral qualities and level of legal competence. Together with the Secretariat of the AGE, we've worked very fruitfully on this important document, which will determine the algorithms and procedures for evaluation of candidates. So, therefore, I suggest to my dear colleagues to include the issue of adoption of this methodology into the agenda of our today's meeting. Colleagues, do you have any suggestions or comments regarding the suggested agenda? None. None. If there are no comments and suggestions, we have a suggestion to adopt this agenda. If there are no comments regarding the agenda, then I suggest to vote for the approval of this agenda. Who is in favor of this agenda? Please vote. Who is for this agenda? Raise your hands. Who is against? No one is against. All 6 members have voted for this decision, so the decision has been taken unanimously. The AGE has decided to adopt the suggested agenda of our today's meeting.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Secretary. Colleagues, I propose to move on this first and the only item on the agenda for today, the adopting the methodology of assessment of moral qualities and level of competence in the field of law. All of you had the extensive opportunity to work on this text of the methodology. Final draft with all the corrections and comments has been provided to you in advance. This is, of course, a most important document for competitive selection of the candidates for the Constitutional Court judges of Ukraine, because this methodology will determine the procedure for evaluating candidates for the position of judges of that court, and will be like a general instruction on the evaluation algorithm, both for us and for candidates. This methodology includes components of criteria of high moral qualities and competence in the field of law, steps for evaluation these criteria, sources of information which we will take into account, interviews and methods of conducting interviews, ranking of candidates. So very important items are included in this methodology. Therefore, I would like to propose to the members of the ADA to adopt the proposed methodology. But before we turn to voting, I would like to ask distinguished colleagues if there are any remarks or suggestions or comments concerning the methodology. Please.
Дякую, пане голово. Вітаю.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello, dear colleagues. Of course, during our hard work on the finalization of the text of the methodology, we've taken into account experience of similar competitive commissions with the participation of international members. At the same time, we've tried to introduce the peculiarity of this competition that we will conduct as the advisory group of experts, given the role and the place of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine in the system of public authorities of Ukraine. Of course, we have even more work ahead of us with respect to the evaluation of candidates. So adoption of the methodology is, of course, necessary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oksana. Anybody else?
I would like to add a few words, and I would like to support the suggestion to discuss the methodology. Dear colleagues, I would like to support my colleague, Ms. Oksana, and I would like to point out that our methodology is really a product of multiple discussions, of very hard work, and we've tried to make it a balanced and comprehensive document, taking into account the opportunity to use advanced scientific and methodological approaches in evaluation of candidates, which are typical for both for international community and for experience used in the Ukrainian system as well. So I support adoption of the methodology, and I believe that it will allow us to select the best candidates. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Natalia. What about other international members of the ADA? Any comments?
Mr. Chair, I would like to offer my comments. Good evening to you, to the colleagues, and to everyone watching this meeting. I also want to support the proposal of my colleagues. The methodology is needed by both us and the candidates. It will bring clarity and understanding to the evaluation procedure. And this is very important so that everyone clearly and unambiguously understands what will happen, how it will happen, and when it will happen. I'd also like to note that the advisory group of experts developed this methodology, taking into account the best international standards and practices. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Maureen. Hannah, yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to support all my colleagues and emphasize that during the development of the methodology, we also use the practice of selecting judges of the European Court of Human Rights and judges of the Court of Justice of the European Union and others. Therefore, in my opinion, the proposed methodology is comprehensive and high quality, so I fully support this document.
Thank you very much, Hannah, and thank you very much, all colleagues. If there are no other remarks or comments, I would like to put the issue of adopting the proposed methodology to a vote. Since today we have an online meeting, I suggest that those who are in favor of adopting the methodology use the function raise hand. So I start with voting now. So who is for adopting the methodology? I see all members of AGA giving their support, so I can declare that nobody is against. So this was a unanimous decision. We adopted this methodology of assessment of moral quality and level of competence in the field of law. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Thanks also for to Secretariat. It was a hard work done in recent weeks. And this document now clearly gives us necessary legal ground to proceed with the assessment process. I'm convinced that we will keep the good pace of our work in the future. As you know, we will soon have an in-person meeting. But I would also like to inform you that last week, on November 28th, the advisory group of experts officially received from the Council of Judges of Ukraine the documents of all 16 candidates admitted to the competition by that council. So from this day, the countdown of 4 months began, during which the advisory group of experts should consider these and other materials, as well as conduct public interviews with candidates. Also, from that date, everybody in Ukrainian public and societies, including NGOs, can officially send materials to the advisory group of experts regarding compliance or non-compliance of a certain candidate or candidates for the position of the judge of the Constitutional Court, compliance or non-compliance with respect to the criteria of high moral qualities and level of competence in the field of law. Soon we also expect to receive the documents of all candidates admitted to the competition by the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine. The legal 4-month period for reviewing documents, for receiving materials regarding candidates, and for public interviews will then also begin from the day of official receipt of all documents from the Parliament to address of the advisory group of experts. Meanwhile, our advisory group of experts has already actively started working with received documents of the candidates and collecting information about them for evaluation. We are currently sending requests to the relevant institutions to obtain information about candidates that can be used in the evaluation of criteria of moral qualities and level of legal competence. Also, in the nearest future, the AGA will sign memorandums of cooperation with specialized state bodies and institutions to institutionalize cooperation for the purpose of obtaining such information about candidates for the future. So on behalf of the AGA, I once again call on representatives of civil societies and all interested parties to cooperate closely, constructively, and fruitfully as possible with the advisory group of experts for the best possible evaluation result. I also once again call on the public to follow the work of the advisory group of experts and, with their attention and participation, be involved in the implementation of reforms in Ukraine. Successful reform requires such cooperation. From our side of the advisory group of experts, of course, we will provide maximum transparency regarding our work. So with these final remarks, I can declare the meeting of the advisory group of experts closed. Thank you very much, all members and all others who are participating and watching us today. Thank you, and see you soon at future meetings of AGE.